Section 2 of the profile reflects on the delta between how an individual responds to the first portion of the profile that said, tell us how you think you really are, to how they respond when they answered the adjectives to how they think other people expect them to be or act. And the way that we read this section is we can see that there is a very small blue dot in where the position was on the basic natural self. And that blue dot is relative to this red norm line. And again, if you have that ruler that we had out for section 1, if you were to measure the distance between this red line and this blue dot, you would see it's exactly the same as this right here. That's what that blue dot is indicating. The red arrow is indicating how an individual feels they need to modify that behavior. So we can see in my particular profile, this again is my data sheet, I perceive a need to be more extroverted than is my natural style. So we can see extroversion is moving up. We can see dominance stays about the same. Patience, this is the third trait, pace/patience, is moving up a lot, and it's crossing over the midpoint. And whenever a trait crosses over from low to high or high to low, it takes a lot of effort. So in your narrative report, you'll see asterisk, and it will say the intensity of this adjustment is very significant. It's saying that because I'm crossing over from low to high. I am an impatient person trying to be patient. And that takes a lot of effort. And that's what this section is telling us. And so on with the other traits as well. The conformity trait, you can see the biggest single arrow is my logic trait. This is showing how much I am trying to be more fact-oriented. And it makes sense when you consider that I am naturally a very intuitive person, but work in a field where metrics and facts are very important. Well, this is reflecting that. So the first 4 and 5, counting logic, 5 columns are the same as the basic natural self, but they're showing us different information. The next 2 columns are different, and they are derived by understanding the differences in our responses from the first portion of the profile to the second portion. One of the things that gets measured is a morale measurement. It's called satisfaction, and it will either have an arrow pointing up and it will say high, or it will have an arrow pointing down and it will say low, or it will have a little tiny arrow in either direction, no more than 1/4 of an inch, and it will say AVG for average. And this is indicating how a person feels about making the behavioral adjustments that they need to make. The second section of the profile is a moving target because we live a moving target life. And when we respond to a profile that says how we think other people expect us to be, well, those others are a moving target. So if you're looking at your report and it shows that your morale is either high or low, I don't want you to think that that's permanent. It will change over time. As will this last column, the energy drain. And the energy drain is calculated by looking at the behavioral adjustments, whether or not they cross over the norm line, and the multiplier is morale. So in my case, this is my energy drain. If my morale were low, my energy drain would have been even longer. And think about it. It makes sense. If you're trying to make behavioral adjustments and you're not happy, it takes a lot more out of you. But if you're genuinely engaged and enjoy what you do, you make the adjustments It may not be easy, but you do what you need to do. That's what this section reflects in your data sheet.